Hello Swatantra TV viewers. I am Mahima, welcoming you to our English Bulletin, with latest news, updates and analysis. TDP General Secretary Nara Lokesh on Friday alleged there is an undeniable and immediate threat to his father and TDP chief N. Chandrababu Naidu's life in jail, citing health reasons and issues including contaminated water and infections. He alleged former Andhra Chief Minister Naidu had lost weight and is suffering infections and allergies due to lack of timely medical assistance in the Rajmahendrapuram Central Prison where he is currently incarcerated. Nara Lokesh has stated that Chandrababu is facing a dire situation, dealing with mosquitoes, contaminated water, weight loss, infections, and allergies, all without access to timely medical assistance. He stressed that the government of Andhra Pradesh is trying to administer steroids to him. Echoing similar concern, Nara Bhuvneshwari, Naidu's wife, noted that she is deeply concerned over her husband's well-being as the government of Andhra Pradesh allegedly failed to provide timely medical care. Brahmani Nara, Naidu's daughter-in-law, alleged the TDP Supremo is detained in inadequate and unsanitary prison conditions, which pose a considerable health risk. Meanwhile, TDP State President K. Achin Naidu demanded that Naidu's personal doctors be allowed to go and examine his health in prison. Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy directed the officials to ensure that people get quality medical treatment in Jagananna Arogya Suraksha camps and directed them to take steps to set up a kidney research center in Prakasam district and modern children's hospitals in Vijayawada, Guntur and Visakhapatnam akin to the one established in Tirupati. At a review meeting held on the Medical and Health Department at the camp office here on Friday, the Chief Minister said that the Arogya Suraksha is a prestigious program which would enhance the goodwill of not only the government but also of the Health Department. He directed the officials to pass special orders to district collectors on this and allot more funds to organize the Suraksha camps systematically without any hitch. State Government Advisor Public Affairs and YSRCP General Secretary Sajjala Ramakrishna Reddy alleged that the TDP was falsely propagating on the health of Chandrababu Naidu that his health had deteriorated. Speaking to the media persons on Friday, Sajjala said that TDP leaders' dream has touched its peaks and are spreading lies on the health of Chandrababu. He said that the government was providing as many facilities as possible to Chandrababu in the Rajahmundry Central Prison. A barrack in the Rajahmundry prison has been completely vacated and medical experts are available there round the clock. Food and drinking water are allowed from home. Sajjala said that the TDP leaders say that IT notices are issued by the YSRCP government. IT department works under the state or central government, asked the government advisor. On the other hand, he reminded that the TDP websites have posted that the BJP was behind the IT notices.
ఇందులో ఏది ప్రాణాంతకమైందో అర్థం కావట్లే కానీ ఈ దోమలకు వీటికి లేదా అలర్జీలకు వీటికి అవసరమైన మెడికల్ అసిస్టెన్స్ లేదంట. అక్కడ నుంచి జంప్ చేసి ది GOAP ఈజ్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు అడ్మినిస్టర్ స్టెరాయిడ్స్ టు హిమ్. సరే, ఆయన భార్య అంటే బాలకృష్ణ గారి కూతురు, చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు కోడలు, చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారి భార్య భువనేశ్వర్ గారు, వాళ్ళంటే సరే ఇంట్లో వాళ్ళు అనుకుందాం అనుకుంటే ఇది వచ్చింది. అంటే వీళ్ళ దాంట్లో కూడా రాజకీయాలే ఉన్నాయనుకోవడానికి బాగా అనిపించడం ఏంటంటే ముగ్గురు ఒకే ఇవి పెడతారు, కానీ వాటి వల్ల జరగబోయే తీవ్ర పరిణామాలు ఏంటి ఆరోగ్యపరంగా అంటే ప్రాణమే పోతుంది అంటారు. తప్పు చేసిన వాడిని పట్టుకున్న పోలీసుల మీద, తప్పు చేసిన వాడిని పెట్టిన జైలు మీద, జైలులో వాతావరణం మీద, ఇంకా అక్కడ జైల్లో ఉండే ఖైదీల మీద, ఇంకా అక్కడ నుంచి ముఖ్యమంత్రి మీద విచిత్రం అనిపించదు? తప్పు చేసిన వాడు సంజాయిషి ఇవ్వాలా? తప్పు చేసిన వాడు నిలదీయడం ఏంటి? గవర్నమెంట్ వైపు నుంచి పాపం DIG ఎవరో ఈరోజు ఆయన పెట్టుకున్నాడు, పెట్టి అయ్యా బాబు మేము బాగా చూసుకుంటున్నాము, ఏం ప్రూవ్ చేయాలో వీళ్ళకి అర్థం కావట్లా. అంతా చేసి మీరు చెప్పినాక తూకం వేస్తే ఆయన 1 కేజీ పెరిగినాడు, మీరు అన్నట్టు 5 కేజీలు తగ్గల, 1 కేజీ పెరిగినాడు. ఎందుకంటే ఆ వేయింగ్ మిషన్ అది కూడా తప్పు అంటారు, ఏం చేయలేము దానికి.
Former minister and veteran Congress leader Ponnala Lakshmiya announced his resignation from the Grand Old Party, blaming TPCC chief A. Revant Reddy and senior leadership on tickets distribution. The development comes just less than 2 months before the Telangana Assembly elections. Ponnala Lakshmiya served in the Congress party for 40 years and held many important roles, including being the first Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee chief. He served as a minister in Congress governments and 4-time MLA from the Jangaon Assembly. According to reports, he resigned from the party because he was denied a ticket from the Jangaon Assembly constituency. Lakshmiya further stated that senior leaders who stayed loyal to the party were sidelined for the sake of newcomers and added that the party shifted from its core principles, paving the way to individualism. Lakshmiya said that he has repeatedly sought the attention of the TPCC president over the last 2 years to discuss these party developments but has been met with a lack of acknowledgement and respect.
45 సంవత్సరాల్లో 4 సార్లు అందులో 3 సార్లు వరుసగా గెలిచిన బీసీ క్యాండిడేట్ ఈ రాష్ట్రంలో ఎవరు లేరు. 12 సంవత్సరాల పైచలకు మంత్రిగా వివిధ శాఖలకు కొత్త రూపాన్ని తీసుకొచ్చిన వ్యక్తిని, అయినా పార్టీలో అవమానాలు, అవహేళనలు, కొద్దిమందే తమ ప్రాధాన్యత కోసం ఇతరులను కించపరిచే విధంగా చూసే విధానం మాకు విసిగెత్తింది. 45 సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత ఇంక నేను దాన్ని తట్టుకోలేకపోతున్నాను. నేను మొదటి నుంచి చెప్తా ఉన్నా, పార్టీలో 1983 నుంచి 2023 వరకు, ఇప్పుడు 2 సార్లు తెలంగాణ వచ్చిన తర్వాత, అంతకుముందు ఎన్నిసార్లు 40 సంవత్సరాలలో 3 సార్లు మాత్రమే కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ అధికారానికి వచ్చింది. అనుభవాలు ఊరికిపోతాయా? అనుభవాలతో ఇది చేయాలనే కదా. ఈ నేపథ్యంలో బీసీల ప్రాముఖ్యత ఉంది అని చెప్తూ వచ్చాం. అందులో ఒక బీసీ నాయకుడిగా నన్ను అవమానాలు, అవహేళన చేస్తుంటే స్థానిక పార్టీ అలాగే ఉంటుంది. ఇదే కండిషన్స్ మరి ఆ వర్గాలలో ఉన్న పార్టీలో ఉన్న పెద్ద మనుషులకు జరిగితే ఏం లేదు.
Senior IPS officer Sandeep Shandilya was posted as Hyderabad Police Commissioner by the state government on Friday. An order to this effect was issued by the Chief Secretary A. Santhi Kumari. Shandilya, who is a 1993 batch officer, was last posted as Director, Telangana State Police Academy, TSPA. He earlier served as Additional DG, Railways and Road Safety, DG, Prisons, CID, ISW and also Police Commissioner, Hyderabad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday addressed the 9th G20 Parliamentary Speakers Summit, P20, and said that the G20 presidency ensured festivities in India throughout the year. P20 summit is being organized in India, which is the mother of democracy and the world's biggest democracy too. Parliaments across the world are an important place for debate and deliberations, the Prime Minister said. It is a unique confluence of various parliamentary practices from around the world. The G20 presidency ensured festivities in India throughout the year. We have a legacy of thousands of years of debates and deliberations. Some of our over 5,000-year-old texts talked about such systems, he added. At the P20 summit, PM Modi stated that a world full of conflicts and confrontation cannot benefit anyone. He lauded India's parliamentary practices that have evolved and strengthened with time. Speaking about terrorism, PM Modi said that India has been facing cross-border terrorism for many years now. Around 20 years ago, terrorists targeted our parliament at the time when the session was on. The world is also realizing how big a challenge terrorism is for the globe and that it is against humanity. The Prime Minister further said, parliaments in the world and their representatives have to think on how to work together in this fight against terrorism. Consensus not being achieved on a definition of terrorism saddening enemies of humanity taking advantage of this approach, he said.
भारत दशकों से क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म का सामना कर रहा है। आतंकवादियों ने भारत में हजारों निर्दोषों की जान ली है। संसद के नए भवन के पास ही आपको भारत की पुरानी संसद भी दिखाई देगी। करीब 20 साल पहले आतंकवादियों ने हमारी संसद को भी निशाना बनाया था और आप जानकर चौंक जाएंगे कि उस समय संसद का सत्र चल रहा था। आतंकियों की तैयारी सांसदों को बंधक बनाने की उन्हें खत्म करने की थी। भारत ऐसी अनेकों आतंकी वारदातों से निपटते हुए आज यहां पहुंचा है। अब दुनिया को भी एहसास हो रहा है कि टेररिज्म दुनिया के लिए कितनी बड़ी चुनौती है। टेररिज्म चाहे कहीं भी होता हो, किसी भी कारण से होता हो, किसी भी रूप में होता है, लेकिन वो मानवता के विरुद्ध होता है। ऐसे में टेररिज्म को लेकर हम सभी को लगातार सख्ती बरतनी ही होगी। हालांकि इसका एक वैश्विक पक्ष और है जिसकी तरफ मैं आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। टेररिज्म की परिभाषा को लेकर आम सहमति ना बन पाना, ये बहुत दुखद है। आज भी यूनाइटेड नेशंस में इंटरनेशनल कन्वेंशन ऑन कॉम्बैटिंग टेररिज्म कॉन्सेंसस का इंतजार कर रहा है। दुनिया के इसी रवैये का फायदा मानवता के दुश्मन उठा रहे हैं। दुनिया भर की पार्लियामेंट्स को, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स को ये सोचना होगा कि टेररिज्म के विरुद्ध इस लड़ाई में हम कैसे मिलकर काम कर सके।
Israeli military has asked over 1 million Gazans and UN officials to relocate to southern parts Gaza within 24 hours, indicating that Israel may soon begin a deadly ground assault. Israeli military said their relocation order was due to Hamas operatives hiding in tunnels under the Gaza city. The Israel army has asked the residents of Gaza to move south for their personal safety and their families. The Israel army asked the citizens of Gaza to distance themselves from the Hamas terrorists who use civilians as human shield. IDF will continue to operate significantly in Gaza City in the coming days and wishes to avoid harming civilians, the Israeli Defense Force said. Gaza shares its boundary with Egypt in the south and with Israel in the north and east. The UN has called on the Israel military to take back the mass relocation order for Gazans to avoid the tragedy turn into a calamitous situation. The UN considers it impossible for such a movement to take place without devastating humanitarian consequences, it said. The UN has moved its operations to southern Gaza after it said the order would be applicable even to UN staff and those sheltered in UN facilities like schools and clinics.
Is a humanitarian step that the IDF is taking in order to minimize civilian casualties as this war unfolds. And I would like to read verbatim, word for word, the message that we sent, obviously in Arabic, to the local population in Gaza City, informing them of the need to evacuate from where they are for their own safety. This is the message. The IDF calls for the evacuation of all civilians from Gaza City. I'll zoom in a second. From Gaza City, from their homes, southwards, for their own safety and protection, and to move to the area south of Wadi Gaza, the river Gaza, as shown on the map. We distributed this with a map as well. And in order to understand what we're talking about, Gaza City, a major center, the biggest center of population in the Gaza Strip. If we zoom in a bit, here we have Gaza City, and more to the south, Gaza River. You can see it here, this path. That is the Gaza River, and what the statement is saying, that people living in Gaza for their own safety should move south of this river. A river being something clear and understandable for everybody, whether or not they have a map or no. I'll continue to read. The Hamas terrorist organization waged a war against the State of Israel, and Gaza City is an area where military operations are taking place. This evacuation is for your own safety. You will be able to return to Gaza City only when another announcement permitting it is made. Do not approach the area of the security fence with the State of Israel, which means telling the Gazans, do not go this way towards the security fence, do not approach the border, only go south. Again, out of a concern for safety of non-combatants. I'll continue to read. Hamas terrorists are hiding in Gaza City, inside tunnels, underneath houses, and inside buildings populated with innocent Gazan civilians. Civilians of Gaza City, evacuate south for your own safety and the safety of your families, and distance yourself from Hamas terrorists who are using you as human shields. And the last paragraph, in the following days, the IDF will continue to operate with significant force in Gaza City and will make extensive efforts to to avoid harming civilians. That's the message that we issued a few hours ago to Gazan civilians, and the aim here is to minimize the damage to civilians. There are significant combat operations ongoing, and we are preparing for future and the continuance of our combat operations, and out of an understanding that there are civilians here whom are not our enemy and we do not want to target them, we are asking them to evacuate so that we will be able to continue to strike military targets belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
The deadly Israel-Hamas war completes a week today with peace not visible anywhere near the Middle East. At least 1,200 have died in Israel and another 1,400 in Gaza Strip since the war began Saturday. Besides, the bodies of 1,500 Hamas operatives were found in the Israeli territory, the government has claimed. Nearly 150 others who were dragged across from the Israeli side are still being held hostage by Hamas. Israel has imposed a complete siege on Gaza, cutting off water, fuel, and electricity supplies. The Palestinian territory's sole power plant shut down on Wednesday after running out of fuel. Israel has vowed that it won't allow humanitarian aid into Gaza until Hamas releases the hostages. The conflict situation has prompted several countries to evacuate their citizens from Israel. India brought back 212 of its citizens from Israel this morning on a special flight under Operation Ajay.
Affairs Minister, yesterday Operation Ajay has been launched to facilitate the return from Israel of our citizens who wish to come back. The first charter flight will be reaching Tel Aviv later tonight to pick up Indian citizens and is likely to return to India tomorrow morning. We will share with you information about further flights as they are finalized. Still an evolving situation. You are aware, External Affairs Minister took a preparatory meeting earlier in the day. We're also in touch with our, of course, with our embassy in Tel Aviv, our representative office in Ramallah, as well as with our neighboring, the missions in our neighboring, in the neighboring countries there, particularly Jordan, Syria, Egypt, etc. And we are keeping a close watch on developments as well as what steps we need to take to assist Indian citizens who are in Israel.
Lebanon's Hezbollah and Syria have become new challenges for the Israeli military. Israel targeted Syria's two main airports Damascus and Aleppo yesterday, grounding flights and putting the airports out of service. It also exchanged artillery fire with Lebanon's Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, in a contested region. In response to the recent Hamas attacks on Israel, the social media platform X has undertaken the removal of numerous accounts associated with Hamas. X is committed to serving the public conversation, especially in critical moments like this, and understands the importance of addressing any illegal content that may be disseminated through the platform. There is no place on X for terrorist organizations or violent extremist groups, and we continue to remove such accounts in real time, including proactive groups, said the social media platform CEO, Linda Yaccarino. X's rapid reaction can be attributed to a 24-hour ultimatum delivered by Thierry Breton, the European Union industry chief, to Elon Musk. In his message, Breton called upon Musk to address the propagation of disinformation on X and adhere to the recently established EU online content rules. Breton expressed apprehensions regarding the platform's purported involvement in disseminating unlawful content and misinformation within the European Union. The EU's Digital Services Act, DSA, recently put into effect mandates that major online platforms such as X and Meta's Facebook, Meta.o, must adopt a more proactive stance in eliminating unlawful content and tackling challenges to public safety and democratic discourse. thank you for watching Swatantra TV English Bulletin. For a complete and comprehensive English news bulletin, please do watch Swatantra TV at 10 p.m. every day. This is Mahima, signing off. Keep watching Swatantra TV.